put it on top of the patient, and it starts doing CPR upon arrival, and it continues it until we get to the hospital. You know, one of the biggest things they found with the new standard in CPR is continuous CPR is doing a lot of benefits to getting pulses back in the field. Problem is, you know, lack of manpower, transitioning from the ground to the cot, taking them down the stairs, you know, getting them in the ambulance. We can't do continuous CPR. And trying to do CPR in the back of a moving ambulance where you have to actually push 2 inches minimum over top of somebody, trying to maintain your balance, you just physically cannot do it. So we're really not doing our patients any good. These devices, once on, will either do the 30-2 recommended American Heart Association compressions, or once we do our airway maneuvers, we'll do continuous CPR. So it will do it for us. $16,000, we applied for a FEMA grant, which they would reimburse 95% of that. So give or take, we like $1,300 we figured. So hopefully that will come through for us. We should start finding out about that next month. I did find out that it's one of the biggest things they're funding right now because it does work really well. Plus, a lot of the fire ground incidents where firefighters die on scene is usually heart related. So, you know, it's a good thing. We're also looking at just getting some new uniforms for our employees. We haven't actually bought major uniform changes since 2003. New jackets for some of the employees because some of them worn out. And then all new polo shirts, uniform pants, belts, whatnot. Other than that, just a few minor things for the mass casualty trailer / first aid trailer we utilize that the county provided. Some of the things that would be for us to utilize, like an AED and stuff for us to utilize at our different events. We're hoping to use state EMS grants for that. And then that's pretty much all for this budget year. Long term, we're looking at a few years trying to, you know, come up with a plan for a new station because as we grow, our ambulance size is going to have to increase because they're no longer making the van ambulances. So we're going to have to find a new plan for that. And we're also looking at plans to take us to the next level and possibly in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe have a proposal to go to part-time staffing, either daytime or 24 hours or something to that effect. So we'd have to have a place to house them because right now they're upstairs, they have to walk all the way down through the snow and everything into the police department, get to the ambulances. So we're trying to come up with a plan to house the ambulance we'll have to be purchasing in the next 4 or 5 years and our part-time staff if we go that route. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
You know, the way they keep doing it, looks like we keep going to have a machine, they won't need you anymore.
He demonstrated that, he showed that system to me. I couldn't handle it. It was, I mean, watching that, you know, I had a dummy there with it hooked up, it was not a good situation. It wasn't pretty. I had to leave.
It's always fun to watch the training room with a body laying there. Always a good time. Unfortunately, criminal justice is usually the biggest drain on many public budgets. Ours is no exception, I guess, but, you know, with multiple annexations in the last few years since I've been here, population increases, a number of new businesses in the town, the so-called shale boom, which we haven't seen a whole lot of money from. We've sure seen a lot of truck traffic and a lot of transients. Some of those guys, they don't call them roughnecks for nothing. They're roughnecks. So all those things combined with our heroin and our meth problems in this county and our city too, we have to continually think about infrastructure and keeping up with those changes. Since I've been here, we've been one person short on the police department. We have an authorized strength of 12, we have 11, that includes me, and I do patrol work and answer calls and all that too. So probably the biggest thing that I look at doing is wanting to bring that to the authorized strength of 12 and adding a full-time patrol officer. The other problem we have is that to man or staff a position 24/7, 365 requires 5 full-time equivalents. Our dispatch center is comprised of 4 full-time people. We've been one short for forever. I'd like to add a full-time dispatcher, bring it up to complement as well. Interesting thing to note is in 2009, we spent a little over $1.2 million. Last year I requested $1.205,000, $930. We spent about $1.1 million of that. I guess looking at my colleagues, I feel pretty good in telling you that I can do pretty much everything we need to do, everything I can ask you to do, with an increase over my last year's request of about $150,000. So if I could come up with an extra $150,000 over my last year's request, which was a little over 1.2, I could get the 2 full-time people. I could purchase a new detective car to replace one that's got $160,000 on it, and we could maintain our operating expenses. We're pretty frugal. We've saved a lot of money over the years, over $400,000 in overtime alone, running over $150,000 worth of the grant money. Yeah, I think we've been pretty frugal. It gets to a point, 5 years down the road, where we're actually using the same funds we were 5 years ago, that nothing's going down, and it gets to a point where there's a tipping point. And it's okay to try to do everything, do a little bit more with less. We've done that, I think, in the 5 years, and we're getting to a point where we're trying to do everything with nothing. We have to ask for a little more money this time. If we could see our way to under $150,000 over our request, I think to do everything we need to do. Now, having said that, I realize what the budgets are, what money is, or limitations. No matter what happens, I can pledge to you that we'll do our level best with whatever we're given. We'll make sure that this community stays safe. We need a plan for the future, new infrastructure though. I really ask you to consider that very carefully as you're looking at these budgets. And one last thing before I sit down and shut up and let you get to the rest of the business is work with all these guys. These guys are, sometimes they're not department heads or magicians. I don't believe some of the stuff they do with the money that they do get. And it's a pleasure to work with all of them and hope they get everything they want. And if you can see your way clear to do some of this stuff, I think all the city benefit. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else out there wants anything?
Lance, I have to say, observation, and I think some of the guys know that when I see them on the street, I stop and what have you, and I really appreciate our whole city crew. Everybody is always helpful, answers questions, very professional, better than it used to be, let me put it that way.
I can say that it's been a wonderful year. I mean, they've done a wonderful job. Communication's been great, and I don't want to knock on wood, but I bet you I've been called less than 20 times over the last year, because they take care of it. You can rest well that they're going to take care of it.
The department heads, take that back to your men. Good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's it for the manager's update.
City resident hits the $400 million.
I gave the packet, you had a fire department report,
$4 million in your tax.
police department report, EMS department report, building and zoning report, mayor's court report. We've already looked at the discussion of court costs. So I guess that's it for me.
Any questions on the bill list? So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Sonic?
Yes. Yes.
Bellinger? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Need a motion to appoint a member to the vacant unexpired term ending December 16, 2016 on the Park Recreation and Cemetery Board.
You want to do a normal type of vote with the voting minutes? So usually we'll fill it out, each slip of paper we want to vote for, pass it to the secretary, and then she's going to do it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a silent vote.
You can do the silent, just need one.
Just a point of order. Mrs. Savita's letter, she raises the question of the possibility of conflict of interest. And I just had a chance to look at this tonight, so I had a chance to quickly on the charter, but the charter does say, and I'll just quote it, members of boards and commissions here and above referred to shall be electors of the municipality at the time of their appointment and during their respective terms of office, and shall not hold other office or employment with the municipality except as otherwise authorized by the charter. That same language appears in section 4.02, which is the council section, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the fact that councilmen and the mayor do serve on commissions, so they hold two offices, but that's provided by charter. So, based upon what I can see so far, it would appear there's a conflict there.
There's somebody here that, you wanna say anything? I didn't know.
Just hand the, pass it down here with me. I'm actually nervous right now on the board. It's like we'll be a test.
Gustafson? Turpak? Turpak? And Gustafson.
Make a motion, we appoint Nancy Treepack, unexpired term.
Second.
Simpson was the motion. Who was the second?
I was.
Dan?
Second.
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Callender? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the request from Fairfield Rotary Club to hold their annual plastic custom antique car show on Sunday, July 13th, 2014 in the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Dan?
I assume this would include whatever insurance requirements and all that sort of stuff we normally have.
You can include certificate of insurance
Yeah.
in the motion.
There's two questions in this letter, do you want to answer back to it, submission passed?
Thanks, I get that.
You're on that, huh?
Sure.
Are we ready for the vote?
Yeah.
McBain?
Yes.
Callender? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
Resolution number 14-R-456, voting on this as an emergency. Actually, I think I need a motion to read this as an emergency.
So moved.
Second. Callender? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Resolution number 14-R-456, emergency resolution of support for an Appalachian set aside of any Ohio severance tax.
So moved.
Second.
Deanne?
Simpson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
Souter.
Yes.
McBain.
Yes.
Callender. Yes.
Eric, question, did I hear you say that they, and it wasn't in our ordinance one way or another, but they're planning on charging this tax on the gross?
No,
Net?
only on the net profit, which is could be a problem because the way you move things around.
Well, yeah, and I realize that, but
Extremely unusual, most places do it on.
It's normally on the gross.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things, that's why right now it's still in infancy form, and that's why they want these resolutions, to try to put some meat to actually do something of substance, because if it's on the net, and you can come up with all your deductions and losses and everything, and then take it off the 1% of that, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And,
That's the proposal from the producers, however, not from the.
well, but the counter proposal right now is that, only instead of taking it on 5 years, they're reducing the 1% down to 2 years. They want a ramp up period while they're buying all of the acreage and whatnot. So they wanted 5 years at 1%. They're proposing reducing that down to 2 years, and then upping years 3 on to 2.25%, still off of the net. And from what I understand, a lot of legislators outside of the House Ways and Means are not necessarily for that. And then once this would pass the House, it would be sent to the Senate. The Senate can then write their own. So there's a lot more to it than this, but the reason that this needs to be read is diversity. They expect to vote in the House in the next week or two, and they want this in front of them before it would transfer to the Senate.
No, this makes sense to do.
But yeah, it's off of right now it's off of the net.
that's why I was asking the question.
Well, the real concern there is that an offset of this is that they're suggesting that it will no longer be, right now they're paying income tax to the state on those things, which is producing local RLGF funds. And I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 3 years, those funds have decreased by about 150,000 what we got in Columbiana down to about 60,000. And if those funds get transferred less because it's paid off of the net, and there's nothing there, they're now not reporting that as income because they're shifting those costs off. Our what piece of what we get from the local government funds could go down. So a piece of what was in that resolution is also stating that we want whatever they do in the House to also reflect not touching any further percentage of what is sent, to take away what we're up. It's already been taken away, it's been cut 50-60% in the last 3 years. And with the oil and gas industry's proposal, we'll cut that further. So, I guess it's crazy that they wrote it, but the last piece of this is that they're suggesting that by paying this tax, they can then deduct it from their income. So by paying their own tax, they're offsetting their income. And it's interesting. Last ordinance number 14-0-2754, first reading. An ordinance providing for a contract between the city of Columbiana and Fairfield Township for fire protection for said township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Comments?
Claims, this is what, a 3% increase over last year?
Yeah, and the year before, it hasn't changed, so.
Yeah, and I think we got some information that showed that the expenses of the fire department in providing the service is less than what we've been getting. Approximately.
It's
very close.
projected, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not spending a whole lot more to provide the service than what we're getting paid. It's balanced very close.
The flip side is that the city of Columbiana, with the levy, we're generating about 270,000. Township, who would pay us and the other couple of their helping provide fire service, we're paying them over 100 a week. So, I mean, proportionately,
It's
for the service.
That's true, but if we weren't providing the service to the, and that's revenue that we wouldn't have otherwise, and we have a lot of fixed costs that are there, whether we provide the service or not.
I'm not suggesting it's wrong, I'm just pointing out the
I
fact
understand.
that they're receiving a similar service for a third place.
Yeah. Yes.
Sauer? McBain?
Yes.
Callender? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Again, just like 2 weeks ago, we had an executive session, I would let the council comments now, because I don't believe there's going to be action.
It's gonna be active.
Is there? How long are we going to be in there?
10 minutes.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Yes.
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 Simpson?
Yes.
I've gone away more times than I
That's fun, when you were up there. I know. I was like, fun when you were talking, I was looking.
Tell me the, I told you, tell me the. Tonight is when the party is 3 o'clock. And he didn't eat anything.
I'm sorry, next time I will.
Don't do it, just like enjoy the movie. Because then when you see it, you go back and this one.
My suggestion
That's a two more life. Yeah, you can get a little blood flows out of there. The big bad thing is the valves on that. We gotta shut that whole section. You're right. Yeah. They work. I mean, we open them up and flush them. Oh, yeah. No, we do. Well, you gotta take a hammer to them and get them shut off. You know, there's like,
We use one, I'll call it.
okay, you go ahead. I'll bring my big hammer. My big wrench.
Oh, no, man.
Are you doing, sir? Back in the corner. You know the dimensions. Good night. See you later.
See you later.
There was a retirement at the time I left, and we never replaced it.
It doesn't even milled down, I gotta get swale and stuff in there. I need to get an estimate size for that, so.
I'll stop over next week and continue to measure it out.
They came in 2009.
I'm confident.
Okay.
You know, the city review. That's where I operate out of.
We have 4 right now. You need to, you know, full-time. You replace your
I
part-time,
want to try to
part-time.
put like a swale.
You know, when they out there, when they're less than their job, part-time.
I wouldn't make you sit there.
Right now.
No, I have to go procedure to where it's at.
I know what you're saying.
It's flat. It's like,
I mean, everything was designed to run. Line Street.
The road was probably lower at one time.
What happens when you build Line Street builds up? You know, similar situation.
Oh, gosh.
At some point, you just take
I'm
out.
probably gonna call you tomorrow.
Or you start.
Water till, we shall be at the bank.
How we doing?
Okay, Jeff.
Hanging in there.
Alright.
Must be your good.
But I'll let you know on
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate that, and maybe you can, You can look at the garage too, inside there.
We could probably do that.
Some of
You give me
them.
7
Oh, so I
grand.
can catch you after?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were
That was just my guess, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Okay,
you
so
never
I'll
know
just
what's
make
to happen.
sure. Okay,
That's
so
not
I
my
can
street.
catch all
That's,
the-
we had the same thing right outside the station, and that's been packed.
Digging up, you see, like, there.
You know, I was surprised nobody asked me. I had
Big
to
saw, stuff to do that.
city resident.
I don't see a problem.
Get $4 million back.
This guy has, you know,
If it's gonna save us all money in the long run.
Well, you don't live in the city, so I don't know.
don't pay it.
That's why.
So that was your budget, or that's what you spent?
I can tell you both.
What's going on?
I don't know why. Here's my
I was
request.
surprised they didn't ask me how I was gonna pay for it.
You were ready too, huh?
No. Hey, no, I
I actually spent more than I requested.
hope the city resident hits the $400 million lottery. Bring $4 million in tax money.
There you go.
I actually spent
All right.
I haven't seen our friends from the fire.
this year to replace those people. I know what I want to do. We got 148,000, well, last year's request brings you this number here, so I will
Since '04, I don't think I've used a half a dozen.
2 full-time positions. We haven't missed one. Purchase a car for the detective, this is worn out.
That's what I
Oh,
said, that
that's
was,
the line of
is it about a little over
Jerry. I ordered it.
that included?
Yeah. There's the two
Yeah,
detectives,
usually it's back row.
and a new car for the detective. Because that's not budgeted. We have a new patrol car budgeted every year, okay, that's a life cycle replacement. We're trying to save enough money to buy one, he wants just a hand-me-down.
You can.
So it's our time out.
Well, if they're discussing something and you wanna make a comment, just raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
And now,
Acknowledge
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. The work walk does, I didn't catch all the things that that does. It,
They do. And this
sorry. I can stand.
Well, the winter set in before Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving, yeah. Then have whatever set. Once they get wet.
Warrant blocks we use in tax cases. There are 2 ways of doing it, okay? A warrant block, in a tax case, as soon as the warrant is issued, you notify the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. When a warrant's been issued, you can't serve it. And they'll issue a warrant block. What that does is it prevents people from renewing their registration, vehicle registration. So in other words, if you don't get served with your warrant, you can take it. Next time you go to your place, next year or whatever, last year, you won't be able to do that until you take care of your warrant.
Now, does that affect
And
driver's
she said
license?
right now, the snow.
No, on the tax case, it'd be just registration. Now, having said that, on the traffic cases, say you have a traffic case like a red light or a speed, and you don't appear in court, which many don't come in.
She said
So
it
you don't appear in court, like you're supposed to sign a citation. That, you put a, you'll do a forfeiture notice, and you'll get, your license will be suspended.
Hip high.
That's for traffic cases only.
Yeah. I
On
mean,
tax
we have
cases,
a
which
lot.
is not a traffic case,
Yeah, not like that.
block, the other one you did
Used to,
forfeiture.
I mean, I remember a lot of stuff
Okay.
going on,
Okay.
you know.
Now, that's basically like the license suspended or the
It just
registration
seems like it's been nonstop.
or until basically.
Blocked until they take care of the warrant,
Yeah.
and meet all the requirements set by the court. You can't even renew it.
That just.
Okay.
So there's when your place expires, you're out of luck until you take care of your problem. It incentivizes the process to make you go in and take care of it. Get that letter from BMA. A lot of people do. I used to do it. When somebody gets, they can listen to us all day and they,
Yeah.
well, okay, I'm in there when I can, but as soon as you get a letter from BMV,
So can I-
your license is gonna get suspended, or you can't renew your plates or sell your car, you can't transfer plates. I mean, that's really, they come in here and say, what do I gotta do to fix this? And that's really help us to collect a lot of the fines before. And they got a new piece of law that's just enacted last year that really enhances our.
We didn't get them My dad got one of the tractors out, and we drove into Dunbar's to get milk and
Color, sort of the methods for collecting court costs,
bread
that's what it was
and drove back
designed.
out there. You know, way to get
Some
me.
more blocks,
Couldn't go to
allows
the
all that
car.
stuff, basically, allows us to do that.
Wasn't nowhere.
No, the chains on the tires too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, school buses, by all means.
You know, there's a court cost, how much of that is?
The court costs right now are $59
Yeah,
for
and we don't
moving
call them canceled
violations,
today, and I think that was
$49 for
just-
non-moving
In
violations.
schools, there's,
A tax
they
case
should
is a
all
non-moving.
been on Schwab related.
Speed is a moving violation. Okay, so out of that money, the city gets $20. It's kind of like that for many, many years.
It was ice under that snow. I know.
Tell me, why
Basically,
didn't
the
all
actual
of them go
cost
to
of
school
operating the
yesterday, just like
And
Lisbon
what I'm proposing is
did? They're
to
worried
add
about
another
making
$20
all
on
these
that, which
days,
comes
so
directly
you
to the
go,
city.
Lisbon
Okay,
immediately
It
jumped on it
offsets the
and
cost
went
of the
yesterday.
actual
One of
operating
the things
costs.
that was nice, they talked about how they could give the kids their assignments by computer, so they wouldn't get
So
behind.
we were way
And I
upside
think
down,
that's,
like
you know,
60%.
Well, they don't need a week off at Easter. Absolutely, they do not need a
We
week.
never had spring breaks like
Spring.
that.
No, good Lord. Good night, they're just getting adjusted from Christmas break. They don't need
Yeah,
a
it's
week
like,
off
it's
at
just really
Easter.
confusing. I live it, so I understand.
No.
It's like that.
That's ridiculous.
We have any
True.
truth.
No, I agree with her wholeheartedly.
They're going back through.
Well, these meetings here make your head spin around.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought, I'm like, oh my,
I'm
that's how I
sitting
feel
here
right
when I roll
now.
back, I can't imagine.
And I'm like, oh gosh.
How you gonna rate this story?
Well, I'm gonna focus on this one and the rest of it. Later this week. Thank you.
All right, you need something, give me a call.
All right.
Hi. How's everybody tonight?
Okay, and you?
Not too bad.
So you've been coming here since 2003,
Yes.
every meeting?
Oh, pretty much.
Really? What got you going on that? Just
Well,
interest?
I live out on this road where they're talking about going gravity with the sewer.
I mean, just people
And
and that sewage.
That's when we got flooded, really bad.
Are they still getting that out there?
We just got a shot here a couple weeks ago.
They need to do something about that yesterday because that contaminates your whole environment and your air.
Tell me.
That needs to be professional and clean. By, professional cleaning, how,
All we got was just a trace.
with the sewage.
It was line water is what it was because they were back flushing the
Oh, so it wasn't
water plant.
sewage.
No, it wasn't. It was all gray and white. But it was just a wee little bit. But what happened is the floats stuck on the pump and
But
all
there's something they can put in your thing that, what came back after draining your basement? Isn't there some kind of a thing?
I have a check valve on mine. But if it doesn't come quick enough, it doesn't flip the flapper shut. If it's a real gradual, just a little bit.
You have mold problems in your basement from that?
My basement's all finished. I immediately Clorox water and disinfect immediately. Had to.
I've been through some mold issues. I had mold remediation and, I tell you, that stuff is dangerous. So how do you get a check valve put in the drain? 'Cause I do have a couple drains in my basement.
Right where my main drain goes out. Cut the concrete and put this valve right there, right at the outside wall. Right before it goes
On the
out.
inside of the house.
Yeah. And then I have a hand valve on it as well. But I have to know, you gotta be at home first.
There is a thing that you can put in your basement or put somewhere that sends an alarm that goes away. Come across it.
I'm all over.
You're right. Now that I'm back in here.
Wouldn't have been so long, but I had felt.
I didn't mind it though. No, it feels good. Uh-huh, me too. It's cold in there.
We got a motion to come out of executive session.
So, second.
We left off the minutes again.
I don't want you to leave me off.
McBain?
Yes.
Challenger? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
I need a motion to retain Ripper and Eckler to fulfill this engagement letter.
So moved.
Second.
Give Mayor a second. I don't want to upstage you.
Deanne?
Challenger? Yes. Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
McGinn?
Yes.
Council comments?
Yes. Since 2006, we've been working on a water plant. We had a gentleman come in here and give us a rundown on what he thought we should do as far as rates and what have you. That's been what, over a month ago? We haven't even discussed it since then, and I think we should start discussing that. I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to do that last time. We need to talk about that. We can't just sit there, yes, we're working on other things right now, but that's something that needs to be talked about. Do we follow through what the gentleman said on his, I mean, he gave us a nice rundown, and I understand the PowerPoint presentation, not PowerPoint, but the Excel, help me, I was losing a word there. Excel wasn't 100% complete and what have you, but at the same time, when you read his letter, presentation that he went with it, as I told Ted, it was kind of like his dad sitting down and having a talk to him. And it made a lot of sense, okay? And I think we need to proceed with this. We got to do something. We can't just, you know, like I said, it's been 2006 since the first conversations come about, and we're looking another 3 years, most likely before we get water out of a new plant. So I think it's time we discuss it.
Well, I agree with you. You know that tonight is the time to fully discuss it and make a decision on it. I spent quite a bit of time working with the spreadsheet that he delivered. Had lots of questions about why things were done. For example, some of the tasks that he added in were tasks that looked to me like they'd be done by staff, so it wasn't clear to me whether he was saying, yeah, whether that meant that he thought we needed additional people to do it beyond the staff we already have, or if it was just a task we thought we had to be able to do. The spreadsheet wasn't designed to do any kind of what ifs. I went through and worked quite a bit with it so that I can do some what ifs in terms of what I thought of would be interesting to do. But I think we all need to sit here, we'll be here at the same time to talk about what things about the proposal concern us and what direction we need to go. It's very clear to me that we have no choice but to find a way to raise the money to pay for the loans and things that are eventually going to occur. And some of those things, the sooner we start doing it, the lower the cost, the lower the amount raised needs to be, because we can start collecting money now to pay for things that are going to, start hitting us in 2 or 3 years, when we're going to have to start paying back loans and things. So I don't think we should continue to wait and just look at it. I think we ought to set something on our agenda, and perhaps the next meeting where we outline time. I don't know whether it should be done in an executive session or out here, but I certainly would like to have the input of the community on the topic as well, because I don't think it's something we should do blindly.
Could we do that before we even have ours? We'd have to set like a public hearing just to get some input.
We could do that. Like I say, we need to start talking about it.
Why don't we put that on the next agenda for the first meeting in March to have set a public hearing for anyone that wants to come in and discuss it, and then from there, we'll have their input, we can match it with our input, and we can have an executive session, or whatever we need to do after that.
Well, my feelings is the gentleman suggested $21 a month, okay? Do I want to pay another $21 a month? I most likely have the lowest income of anybody in the room. But I'm willing to pay $21 a month so that I know 4 or 5 years from now I can walk over and go like this and water comes out of the spigot. And $21 a month is taking my wife out to lunch for gosh sakes. You know, so I'll eat at home one more time, you know. But we gotta do something. We can't just sit here and ignore it anymore. I'd like to see us start soon with that increase, whatever it's gonna be. Do I wanna do it? Are we gonna be the bad guys? Yes.
Yeah, we don't have any choice.
We got broad shoulders, let's stand up and do what we're supposed to do.
In looking at that though, okay, and I'm agreeing 100% with what you're saying, we do need to move forward. We're looking at least 2 years for that thing to be completed. All right, what he gave us was a Cadillac. We don't need to live in you know, with a Volkswagen, classic saying, we can be a nice sized Chevrolet. So, but we need to make a decision. And if we're the target of it, if we're the brunt of it, it's gonna happen because councils before, back to your date, did not move on this. And, you know, I don't wanna be like other communities that have to boil their water. I don't wanna be like other communities that turn the spigot on and it comes out black. So, that's where I'm coming from. Let's get a move on.
Well, my question is, how long is it gonna be before that one pump falls into the water tank? Side of the water tank's rusting away. You know, they propped it up so that it doesn't fall in there. Well, it's gonna happen sometime.
The walls falling off the building.
Yeah.
Brick faces falling off the building.
Yeah, let's
Time
get
to do
busy.
something.
I would say, for anyone that wasn't here before, we just received the numbers of what all this is gonna cost at that meeting. And we couldn't have done it from a past council with, meaning to set and raise someone's expenses without us knowing what the expense needed to be would be, I think it was unwarranted. I mean, we know something was coming, but there's no way. I mean, the only thing that maybe we could have done or could do now is set something low and let it tier up rather than just hit somebody with a fee. But
Even that would be better than doing nothing.
but I agree. The bigger thing to look at, and like what Dan's talking about, I mean, if you read the letter from the USDA, they even put like quotes around, like sarcastically about the maintenance programs, and I mean, there was things that he was pointing out that are not necessary. So I think to haphazardly jump into saying we need a $21 fee because that guy said so, I think is the opposite end of doing nothing, is overreacting to based on what one person said. Many of us agree is too high. I mean, there was like the ultimate wish list in there.
Am I right, there's 3,000 paying customers in the city of Columbiana that work on top of these utilities? Okay, well, it's pretty easy to run the mathematics, you know, to look at both situations of what, if we pick 1,550 or if we pick, you know, 1,485, whatever figure, you multiply it out, that's what we're gonna start. We gotta start someplace, and we gotta start moving forward with it, because otherwise we're gonna get caught with both hands in our pocket and we can't do anything.
Then we just have Lance put that on the agenda. We need a motion to ask for.
So you're talking about doing a special workshop?
Now, we were talking about doing a public meeting to ask for the public's input on.
So is that like 6 o'clock at night?
Just set it for like 7:15. We'll run through the merits
If we have time to get that properly advertised and everything, we're supposed to be going to do.
Yeah.
I have another comment related to utilities that's on water related, but over the course of the last several years, I've been a proponent for lowering electric rates. Just this week, I don't know what was in the water, so to speak, but I received several letters, emails, phone calls from multiple different residents in town. And this one really struck me. This is an Ohio Edison bill from the last month for Salem. And if you take the total cost on here, it breaks out 0648, and that includes the delivery charges and everything. That's that bid. You take the apples and apples chart. The total rate is 0648. That includes delivery fees, everything. So I know we were at like 11.6.
Here's mine, right here, 444, Edison.
I believe you, but we figured out.
I don't know what kind of program they're on.
I ran through an apples to apples, picking an area address that the been right outside the city in Ohio Edison territory. And I got a rate quoted by, picking alternative vendors, around 13 cents. So, I mean,
It's a real bill.
yeah, I know, I understand.
So I guess what I'm looking at, just in light of, there was a post on Facebook the city put out the other day, this is like the coldest winter we've had in decades. I mean, there was like from the water plant, we were measuring it out, there was only 2 days, in the last 6 weeks, we were above 32 degrees. Is there something that we can do, either for people that are all electric homes, at least, that's something to try to offset some of this a little bit? Just to get through the next month and a half. I mean, most of the damage is already done. And I know several of you don't think that there is damage, but I know you received a call from someone, right? I receive calls on it weekly, and I know that we can't do something just to do it. But I think that there are a lot of people that are financially hurting, and according to the AMP gentleman that was here, the benefit of doing this is that we control the cost. And he talked about our buying the electric was the lowest rates it's been in many, many years. And I just think that it wouldn't hurt short term like we did a few years ago to do something. It didn't hurt anything. Last time we did this, our funds went up, not down.
Yeah, but you're looking at a situation where you have to look at the way the electric rates are calculated. In any given short period of time, the revenues coming in and the expenses going out are not necessarily going to match perfectly, because there's lots of things like tree trimming and buying transformers and all sorts of stuff like that that only happen during a short period once a year, and yet that it's spread out through the electric rates over the whole year. So, we don't go out and raise the electric rates by, 50% so that we can pay for transformers this month. We can spread it out over the entire month. And so it's easy to look at it and say what happened during this period. And if revenues are high because of high usage, because of air conditioning and things like that, and expenses are low because you aren't out there trimming trees in the winter, or at that particular time of year, you could see balances actually increase. That's going to happen. But over the course of the year, it wouldn't do that. If you look at our power rates, there's basically two components. The first is our energy charge, and that's what we pay for, and we pass that on to the customer at exactly the same rate. And then there's the distribution charge of our electric department, and that's spread out over the use of the electricity and the budget that we have for the department. If we don't bring in the money that we have estimated for that month or over the course of that period of time, then you're going to be short for the electric department, and that's where you're going to have to cut expenses. So the only thing we can do is look at it and say, where can we cut expenses? How can we cut expenses? Or the alternative are the places where the city can buy cheaper energy. We're starting to do that by having the new plant come online to keep us from buying electric on the open market. But to simply say, gee, let's cut rates 5% or 10% so that we can give our customers a break, we have to make that money up somehow by cutting costs or something else.
Or cut something, short term. I mean, not long term, short.
Well, you can only do it on the long term because those expenses are budgeted over the course of the year. And so you're going to have to say at some point in time what we're going to cut out of the budget to make up for whatever this savings is we're going to give back to our customers. Until we can sit down, until you can sit down and look at a pro forma balance sheet on the whole thing and say, here's where our expected revenues are coming in, here's what we have going on, and then can say, how much can we cut this and what impact it's going to have overall. I don't see how you can make a logical judgment on how to cut costs.
But I'm not asking for the motion tonight.
I understand.
I'm bringing it up so that maybe 2 weeks from now, we are prepared to do that. I mean, especially since we're going to be discussing budgets right now.
Yeah,
that is the perfect time to do that.
That is the perfect time.
So that I'm brought it up now so that we could do that. I mean, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but I mean, if I can get it enough times, I need to bring it here. I mean, I think that's all of our job.
Mm-hmm.
So
We are generous to people though that can't pay their bill, maybe because it's higher. We give them ample time. Maybe, do we set up payment plans?
Absolutely.
So, maybe they can't pay it all now, but they know that we're not shutting them off. Maybe
Can I speak?
Yes.
Can I speak? I came here last time with my electric water bill for $416. My home is maybe 1,400 square feet. I've had a problem with electric ever since I moved here in 2008 because of health reasons, I went all electric because I'm not supposed to be around the gas. And I struggled with it because I'm retired, I'm on disability. I was told by Lance he gave me some organizations to go to. I'm not eligible for heat because I make a little bit too much. I'm not at 175% of the poverty level, but I'm a little over 200%, so I'm still struggling. So anyways, I was able to get from 2 organizations, I was able to get help with last month's electric bill. But you can only get help from them every 6 months. So there's a lot of other organizations out there that I'm not eligible for. And I know I have a friend in Salem, and their meter reading in Salem was on February 7th. My meter reading was on February 4th, the one that we're going to be getting. My electric use so far, called the electric department, and they told me that I used 4,444 kilowatts this past month. The person in Salem, the reading was like within 3 days, used 4,388. We have a comparable sized home. So it's not like I'm using too much or anything abnormal. Okay, my bill at the last month's rate of 0.11614 cents per kilowatt hour plus the $3.50 delivery charge or whatever it is going to be $519.63, and then my water's on top of that. In Salem, their total bill is $284. Their rate comes out to 0.06472 cents. So I'm paying this month, I'm going to pay $235 more because I live in Columbiana. Now, people have this here really, people think that Columbiana's electric rates are really good. Matter of fact, I talked to someone in Columbiana the other day, and they said, oh yeah, our rates are really good compared to other people. Well, they're not. I know there are some places, communities that have comparable rates to Columbiana, but the reason Columbiana went self-funded or whatever the heck you call it, what you did here, was for the residents to save them money. I don't see that you're saving them any money, and people like me are really getting hit hard. AMP does not offer any kind of help for people income-wise, or First Energy, Ohio Edison, or whatever, those companies do. Matter of fact, AEP has a program too that I could get help on. So all I'm saying is I read a long time ago where you guys have like $2 million. Back then you had $2 million in your electric fund or whatever. So right now with this really cold spell, if you take 3 cents off of my 4,444 kilowatt hours, I'm going to save a little over $120 a month with nice deals like groceries. So that's what I have to say about your electric.
The other thing I would say about AEP, that's who you have, right?
Yeah, Ohio Edison.
So someone here was discussing 1% of their activity.
Yeah, the girl from Slayville or something.
There was something that, weren't they get sued by the UCO or something, and told that their rates were inflated. I think that was a couple of months ago.
I'm not sure.
Their rates were so high that PUCO told them they had to go. I am 100% in agreement with doing what we need to do to operate. All I'm saying is whenever we make comments that if we were to lower our rate, we have to cut something, we need to realize that at home, they have to cut something.
I don't have anything else to cut.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't have any problem cutting something, I just disagree with an arbitrary reduction of rates without knowing.
I wasn't
what
going to
the
do that.
impact.
I wasn't going to do that.
Okay.
Well, what I'm asking for is like what Brian said, a few years ago, he got us where we lowered it to 8 cents, which is still higher than Salem.
We're calculating the rates identical to what you proposed back then. We are? I'm doing it the same exact way he's doing it. He did.
No, but there was a time.
We have
when it went down
not
to 8
varied
cents.
from that.
No, there was a time when it went down to about 8 something cents.
He suggested that our costs were not that much.
No, we weren't covered on cost with that 8 cents.
We were.
No, we weren't. Not on the long term.
Well, we're not talking long term, we're asking like now, when it's in the winter time, when there's a couple months like January, February, when things are really bad, harder for people with all electric homes. I mean, in the summertime, I have air conditioning. I pay $200-something or whatever, but that's because it's only running a half a day. But in the wintertime, when it's running 24 hours, that's when it doubles. And years ago, they said, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard over and over again that years ago, when this first started out, the Columbiana did the rates for the residents, brought the energy under Columbiana's control. They used to give the customers a free month. Well, that stopped, but I mean, the rates are just continually going up. And I'm not saying you don't have expenses, you don't have people to pay, but I'm just saying that, it's not necessarily helping, some of the residents. I'm not the only other person. I talked to another person this past week who has a comparable house to me that lives in Columbiana, and he has children. I live by myself, so it's just me. But he has a wife and kids, and theirs was like 500 something last month, so.
Well, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I think it's something that warrants discussion, especially during the budgeting time, because it's something that, instead of taking an entire wish list, we take what we need, we take what will give growth somewhat, maybe not everything, and find a way that we can reduce a little bit. Anything that we shave off of there helps everyone. One thing that's never been discussed is if we're doing it the exact same way that we were 2 years ago, all of the businesses that were on an industrial rate that were paying none of those costs now are. And we still are where we're at, which makes no sense to me, because you've got all the businesses that unless we're not passing on, and then we're not doing what we voted to do, that should have brought everyone down, because it swung up on the industrial side. The industrial was way down, we brought that down. So if the whole rate came up, then the industrial payers have come up to where all the residential ones are, which should be bringing a whole lot more money in.
Well, but we also have much higher cost on the energy side. Yeah, our cost of energy went up,
Not
what was
according
it,
to-
2 or 3 cents a kilowatt? What was, something like that?
Yeah, 2.5 cents, I believe.
2.5 cents, yeah.
Well, can we see like a breakdown of exactly what is going out?
Supposedly we're getting a new bill. When are we getting the bill?
Those rate study guys, I'm hoping they're coming in March, and that's we're gonna take what they tell us, we're going to, work it into the bills, get new bills, they're gonna look more like, Ohio Edison's. And, hopefully we can do that in March, get that study done. But again, for you, I know it doesn't help everybody else, but, I believe that we can come in there and reduce the amount of kilowatts used. I mean,
I'm saying, I showed you that the house that I compared this to, and this other house that's in Columbiana, with my square footage, I'm not using that much. I have a high energy efficient, I have a 16-seer heat pump, and I have a new washer and a new dryer. I have, everything I have is energy efficient, except for maybe, 2 things. And
your heat pump isn't operating at these temperatures. You're using electric to assist the heat at this temperature.
right, I understand that. But my heat pump works pretty low.
Yeah, they'll work down to close to 4 degrees or so.
I've had all these heating ventilation people in the area, and they don't even want to talk to me. They don't think I'm a nut. But
2-story home?
no, it's a ranch.
Okay. And approximately how old?
It's built in 1948.
48.
1948.
Okay.
What upgrades have you done?
New roof, insulation in the attic, the electric system.
So you have tried to,
Done everything that I know. I have,
windows?
delivery charges are. The windows are bad, the windows are newer windows. They're not, it's not a leaky house, it's pretty airtight. In fact, it might be a little bit too airtight. So, I'm still trying to work out some bugs and stuff to, like when I put my dryer on, I moved the dryer upstairs, the washer dryer, put it in the closet. But when I put my dryer on, it seems like it's pulling air out of the attic. So I have plastic up there, something, because it's airtight, it's not sucking in from the walls and the outlets. And
You haven't closed off any of your cold air returns, have you?
No, in fact,
Missed that.
I've added cold air returns. I've replaced the flex duct in the basement with hard ductwork and, But what you were saying about, Columbiana doesn't, I don't know if they work with other people, but today when the bill was due, if I didn't pay it, I would have had to pay a $42 late fee. So, they don't.
Well, they don't shut you off, they're not.
Well, I don't know, I don't want to get behind, I'm trying to pay my bills, but I'm just saying that, a few years ago, they were able to, for a few months, reduce the rate for a two months, or whatever. If they would, consider doing that, Lance is gonna be, sending out the new electric bills the first of this month, and every penny he lowers it is gonna save me $44, and I appreciate it, so.
Well, I believe in your specific case, though, I believe that I can save you more money, which I told you on the phone, you're using 4,000 kW a month at your house. I believe that we can reduce that by coming into your house, Doug and I, and doing an audit, much like Dan was just asking. And you said in a couple of weeks.
You said they didn't do audits.
Doug and I, remember you said that we were gonna wait a couple of weeks and call us back?
Mhm.
That's what I'm referring to.
Right, but you said that EMT doesn't do audits. You don't, all you do is a meter thing, don't you?
They are still, that is still, I'm offering you, as I did on the phone, an audit from Doug and I to come into your house and take a look.
And what does that entail? Because like I said.
He has meters and he can, he's an electrician
Okay.
and he might be able to help you out.
Okay, well, that's fine, but then this other person that I talked to in the city also used the same amount as me, so maybe you'll want to go into his home.
Absolutely. We're doing it, we're doing it. And anybody's that we, that are, using 4,000 kW.
But that's normal for electric heat. It's the rate. And I've had electric heat for the last 30 years. So it's not like it's something new to me, so it's the rate. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we need to give a shout out to Dickie, was it Dickie and Sons and Whitmer's? I guess they donated to move some snow, what they donate? Forklift, equipment to do snow removal in town the other day. So that was really nice of them.
And the labor to do so.
Yeah, it's all free.
Brian, you've looked over this bill, and what I'm questioning here is I'm comparing it with Lance's, okay? And the big difference I see in the two bills is I'm looking here, there's a residential distribution credit for $61, there's a residential generation credit for $87, a residential non-standard credit for $65. All these credits are on there that Lance don't get. How come you don't get them, Lance? You not arguing enough or what?
I guess not.
I don't understand where these credits are coming in. Maybe we need to talk to Edison and ask him what's going on. Because, you read this bill, the beginning numbers, $6.32 per kilowatt hour, this lower one, and $6.25 per kilowatt hour. Lance is paying less per kilowatt hour than these folks are.
Yeah, the delivery.
Where do we come up with these distribution credit, generation credits, and non-standard credits? Where's that money coming from? That's why I think we've got to ask these questions. It don't make sense that per kilowatt hour, they tell you per kilowatt hour right here how much she's charging, they're charging her. Okay, and over here, she's paying more but paying less. That don't make sense to me. There's something goofy. How are they doing that? Are they selling electricity for less than they're paying for
I
it?
don't even know who it is, it's redacted.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe we need to ask Edison these questions.
We did talk to Edison, and they told me that the rates, that we can go on the tariffs part of their website, and that the rates are 5.9 to 6 depending on the area, and then there's a $4 customer delivery charge, and then the usage charge is 3 or 4 cents depending on the usage.
Well, I'm not disputing what your bill is and what have you, but over the last 10 years, having been the mayor for a while, people keep coming to me and asking questions. And I have talked to many of my friends who pay an Edison bill and say, would you mind bringing your bill so I can look at it? And I'd sit down and divide the bottom line out, the number of kilowatt hours used by their bottom line, and it's always been at least 1% more expensive than Columbiana's, than my bill, okay, or 2 cents. Okay, so there's something going on there that we don't know about.
I did this for someone else the other day, and in their bill, Columbiana was 1 cent per kilowatt hour cheaper than what they were paying.
Yeah, but
They had a home in Columbiana and a home outside Columbiana, so they had, Ohio Edison built their house, and on the rental they had our utilities, and our utilities was cheap by 1 cent.
that's my point. So where's this coming from? How is that happening? That's my
But
question.
because of everything's been opened up for competition, you can't just say an Ohio Edison building more, because you can have Ohio Edison as your delivery company, but then you go on the PUCO with apples to apples, and it shows you that you can go buy your electricity off the open market. And then, so no one's bill just because they're with Ohio Edison anymore is that price. You can go shop at 100.
Right. Right.
But it does not gonna fluctuate that much, because you still got to pay all that us and deliver it, and whatever else they got a ding you for.
I agree with you. Then it comes out to 6.7 something. Yeah, that's right. I work for you, which way. All right.
Mayor,
Thank you for
do me
coming
a
in.
favor. You said you can't hardly hear out of this there. You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Well, you're on my deaf side. Speak up a little bit.
No, I'm in the middle.
Right, you were hard to hear.
We can't hear half of what you
No, but
said.
maybe the microphone needs to turn up. I mean, there used to be an equalizer under there where you can change each one.
And the tape was last month.
It was difficult.
Last meeting, we barely heard
I was gonna say, yeah, you're getting it
And I realize I got a big
from
mouth.
both sides.
No, I'm never, I do think that the microphone maybe is not.
The older you get, the less you can hear, the longer you're louder, you're gonna stop.
I couldn't hear you very well.
There's an equalizer over there, each microphone, maybe it's turned down.
I heard everybody just fine.
Well, you still got young ears, Mayor. Hey, Mayor, the number of years I listened to you kids,
We made you deaf.
it's a wonder I can hear anything.